Thanks very much, Neil. So, as Neil said, I've been building internal communities at large organizations for the past 12 or so years. And Enterprise 2.0 means lots of things to lots of different people. To me, it's all about collaboration. And specifically, it's about teams and people being able to communicate better and collaborate better as teams. Now, there's that old saying of there's no I in team. But actually, I totally disagree with that, and hence the slide, look for the eyes. And the reason why I say that is that if you look at sort of the history of human success, it's really about specialization in the context of collaboration. So you'll have lots of specialists dotted all around the world, working in different areas, potentially in different teams. But it's when those specialists get together that great things happen. And the real challenge to organizations is how can we get our employees working better together, particularly in light of things like globalization, remote working, home working, different time zones, all of these things, and provide a level playing field so that everyone has a voice and everyone has the same ability to be able to access the same information tools and the same resources. So the starting point for most people is, well, let's see what's going on in the consumer world. You know, consumerization of the enterprise. Everyone's bringing their own device to work. You know, this is the experience our users want. This is what they demand. Well, no, they don't, actually. If you think about it, you look at the demographic of your workforce, it doesn't map ideally to the social world or the social media world. That's the first thing. The second thing is actually the paradigms are different because in the consumer world, it's all about me. It's all about my friends. It's all about how I interact with the world. If you look at the corporate world or the enterprise world, it's how do I interact with my teams? How do I interact with my information? How do I engage better with my community? And it's one of those things that because Facebook is the market leader in the social media space, you know, everyone thinks, well, they're doing it right. You know, no one got fired for buying IBM. No one's going to get fired for implementing a corporate Facebook. Same sort of thing. It's one of those things of, you know, when you've got a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And, you know, you see every single Enterprise 2.0 solution out there. They all look like rip-offs of Facebook. I don't care what anyone says. It's all about my profile, my status, what I'm doing, my documents, my photos, my teams. Great, wonderful. But actually, you know, one of the big problems is that in order to make this work, you know, you don't want to make, you know, you want to make your business social. You don't necessarily want to make social your business. And Laurie Buzak, I think, has actually summed it up quite nicely in that one of the key challenges is actually integrating our existing tools, our existing systems into how we want to make our social media platform work. How can we derive value from our platforms? It's by getting our workflow connected with our people. Try and actually make some of the old legacy mainframe-based systems work in a way that the Generation Y users want to be able to access it. How about communications enabling of our business processes? You know, when I'm, I don't know, a factory worker in Toulouse, you know, I've got a problem with that machine. How can I engage with the rest of the company, with other people who perhaps have had that same issue in Dallas? And unless you have real integration into things like CRM, ERP tools, all of these other things, then actually just having another tool doesn't really help. So for me, one of the key things is about your information. Now, a big challenge for most organizations, particularly their larger enterprises, is things like data jurisdiction. Where does the data live? Who owns the data? What are the boundaries? Where, you know, if it's on a US server and I'm a German worker, you know, that information is subject to the Patriot Act. Now, this is a really important thing. So some people might refer to some of the social platforms out there that are freemium. You know, there are plenty that, if you haven't, as an enterprise, adopted some form of technology, what tends to happen is your users, particularly the Generation Y users, will go out there and adopt it themselves. There's plenty of freemium tools out there. They can easily sign up for a Yammer account. They can easily sign up for, you know, any number of these types of systems. And before you know it, you've got tens, hundreds, potentially even thousands of people using these tools in anger for business, and you as an organisation don't own that content. And as I said it here, if you're not paying for something, you're not a customer, you're a product. And you end up potentially being burnt by that. Personally, I experienced that. I was head of strategy for collaboration at Thomson Reuters. And we were the collaboration team, we were the collaboration group. We were dictating how we were going to collaborate as an organisation, 40,000 plus people worldwide. And one day I was investigating other things, and this is 5 years ago now, and I saw, oh my goodness, we've got thousands of people using Yammer. But this is not a corporate-sponsored initiative. How do we close that stuff down? And the answer was, you pay us. And that's fine, but these tools can be a problem as well as a benefit. The next thing is, great, so we've decided we need a strategy around Enterprise 2.0. We've identified perhaps some tools, but we've really got to be careful to make sure that we don't just end up with another information silo. Because think about it, the evolution of corporate systems, you've had CRM tools, ERP tools, Salesforce automation tools, all of these other lovely tools, and they all end up being little islands of information that no one can talk to, unless you use this nice sort of messaging-based platform that you can plug it in, and systems integrators make a fortune out of that. There's good money to be made. So when you look at this particular problem of social business, don't think about, right, let's just choose the best of the bunch, put it in, and we'll change our business process to meet the solution out of the box. Think about what you've got. Think about leveraging your existing systems. Yes, some of them might not be perfect. Not everyone likes the out-of-the-box experience that they might enjoy or otherwise from, say, SharePoint, or even from Connections, or Exchange, or any of these other things. But what you want to be able to do is look for interaction points and look to see how you can mold them to map onto your business process. Now, this I think is really important. And if you look in any organisation, the real value in that organisation are the people. And it's not the explicit knowledge which you've got sitting in these information silos. It's the stuff that's sitting in people's heads. It's the coffee machine conversations. It's the informal chats around meeting room tables. That's where ideas are born. That's where ideas end up being executed. And teams form decisions on the basis of these informal meetings. Now, one of the challenges with all these lovely new working paradigms of homework and everything else is that you lose a lot of that culture. You lose a lot of that interaction. And the real driver is, right, how can we start capturing and using this tacit knowledge when the world around us has changed? So, as I said, it's all about the information in people's heads. So, one of the ways people do it is they go, well, look, let's use my existing collaboration tools, my existing tools, because you know what? There's some ubiquitous things out there that everyone has access to in my organisation. Email, go team. Distribution lists, brilliant. But you end up with situations like this. I mean, I won't show you my inbox, but I know that it'll look like I've got 20,000 unread items in there. But that's, again, one of the things that I know that there's value in my inbox, and I hoard it. And every other user out there hoards it as well. Very few people are very meticulous and behave in the right way in the email world. And this concept of reply all, cover my arse, all that sort of thing is a real issue when it comes to internal communications. So, I know I've just panned the whole of Enterprise 2.0 as a concept, so sorry about that. But actually, I think there's a lot of good in here as well. But it's really about making it work for you, adopting it in a way that your users want to use it. And so that's why one of the key things I talk about is your way. So, the way I like to consume information and the way I like to engage is different to, say, perhaps the way Neil engages. So, what I've been working with my team on building over the past 18 months is what we call mind link. Now, blatant sales pitch here, so sorry. So I believe that teams interact best around discussion points. So context is key. Content is important as well. So get content from your existing systems. Make it easy to integrate. So, provide tools that, say, a developer on any platform can hook into. Obviously, you need to have some sort of community drivers. So management and leadership is very important as well. But the way we look at the world, or the way I look at the world, is group chat. It's the best way to describe it. Real-time discussions based around context, those being topic-based communities. So here I've got an updates channel, I've got a client updates channel, I've got my wish list, and then I've got instant messaging conversations. At the same time, I have what we call the live stream, and that shows me all of the content happening to any of the things that I'm interested in. So if someone sends me an instant message or someone updates their status, and I'm able to see it. Works well, great. And for a Generation Y user, this looks friendly, it looks nice, it makes sense. It's a sort of, it should really be a beautiful end user experience. Some people though, like SharePoint. They like their traditional intranet tool. So what you want to be able to do is drag the discussions and the content from this new platform into the old world. Now, this is one of our customers. They're a European brokerage, and what they want to be able to do is add what they call, or build what they call a picture. So they take their stories. So this is chat. These are their financial models. Those are their research information. This is their CRM tool at the bottom. And they want to be able to take all of those individual stories and build what they call a picture. But again, one size doesn't fit all. And actually, me as a user, I like this, because guess what? The first tool I turn on in the morning is my email. I always have access to my email. And so when I'm at my desk, I have Outlook open. And I want to be able to swap between my asynchronous conversations being an email and my synchronous group chat conversations in the same window. So tight integration with the tools that I, as a user, enjoy. So it's about what works for me as a user. And the final thing, back to consumerization, probably not a great example perhaps today, but people want mobile devices. They have WhatsApp on their iPhone or on their BlackBerry, on their Android device. They want to be able to access the information assets, the corporate information, the individuals, and the discussions whilst they're on the move. Because the world doesn't sleep, and people work from home, and they work from the train, they work from everywhere. And they also want us to work on things like iPads. So, if you'd like to find out more, we're actually having an event on the 29th of March in London. Please approach me today, and I can tell you about some of the war stories, horror stories and otherwise, at some of the large organisations I work with on implementing this approach. Thanks.
Thanks, Gavin. Time for perhaps a couple of quick questions, and then we'll let people out and get some caffeine. As I said, we're heading into the final straight. So, any questions before we break? Yes.
Talk briefly about Gavin being informally started at your company. How did you deal with this situation?
Let's just say strong conversations with the other organisation. I can't actually go into the real detail on that. But it wasn't easy.
Time for one more?
Having seen the picture of the worker drowning in the paper, what is your response if people say, well, I'm now drowning in alerts, RSS feeds, notifications, emails?
That's a really good question, because just adding another communication tool doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And in fact, that's the first fear that people have is, oh no, not another collaboration tool. I've got email, I've got fax machines, I've got this, oh please go away. But the secret is really trying to be able to work smarter and be able to access the right information from the right people at the right time. And you can do that if you start getting people to communicate more effectively. So kill reply all. Atos Group last year announced that they're going to be removing or disabling internal email. Great concept. I'd like to see how they go with that. But I think it is achievable if you get people communicating around topics. If you look at the way I use chat, and with my teams, each one of those teams could effectively be a distribution list. And if we're having 50 individual messages in each one of those channels each day, and you equate that back to email, I'd be getting 500-600 emails a day, and it's just impossible to manage. Whereas in a split second, within probably 3-4 seconds, I can read all of those messages and then move on to my real work. Don't make email, don't make communication your work. As I said earlier, don't make social your business, make your business social.